hear about those staff in just a little bit. But we're going to dive right into our Rural Health Scholars 101, okay? And get through this because I know you guys have a lot of other things to do. We're going to do some icebreaker activities. After our presentation, we're going to have a peer mentor panel. We're going to talk about some of our cultural immersion trips. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a good idea of what you signed up for. As you can see, we max out our program every fall. We have about 175 students for the fall that have joined us. We are full, unfortunately. So if you have friends that want to join the program, they can certainly join for spring semester. So I'm really excited that all of you have got your registrations in and are in the program. So you have an agenda on your table. If you need more food, please go get some more food. That's great. There are restrooms just outside the ballroom. Hopefully you all know where things are by now. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Or you can come find one of our staff members or one of our peer mentors after the presentation. We hope to get you out of here by about 9:45. And we want you right now to pull out your phones and follow us on social media. We have an amazing social media presence. In fact, one of your first assignments in the class is going to be to like our Facebook page. So make sure that you're tracking things. We put amazing things on our social media. Guess what? We put jobs on our social media. So if you're looking for a job in healthcare, we put jobs out there. We put amazing opportunities out there when we can't get them to you within the weekly emails. So it's a really good way to follow us. And in the class, I'll actually show you how some med schools, grad schools actually use their social media. They put more on their social media than they do on their websites. So your goal today is to just get oriented with our staff and our students, understand the benefits, get to know other people, and kind of learn about the expectations of Rural Health Scholars and ask questions. This is a fun picture of some of our alums that graduated. Every single one of them matriculated to a healthcare grad program. And we have some information tables around. Over there you'll see, we actually give you cords when you graduate if you're a member of RHS and have been in the program. So you have a designation on your diploma and a designation in your graduation program. I know that's a long way from now for many of you, but it's just something really exciting to shoot for. We also have some books on the table over there if you want some. If you are undecided about your healthcare career, we actually publish a directory of all the health training programs in Utah. So that's pretty exciting, and feel free to take one of those. We have some examples of some of our hoodies and scrub tops. Back in the back, we have a list of our cultural immersion trips. Most all this information you can also find in your Canvas portal for the class as well. But we wanted just to show you some examples of it. I'm going to give you the boring history of our program. You're going to hear the word AHEC tossed around. As I mentioned, we have a program here called the Utah Center for Rural Health. There are several programs nested under that. One is AHEC. AHEC is Area Health Education Centers, and they've been around in our country since 1971. So it's a national program to try to get students into healthcare training programs and then to get them to think about coming back and serving in a rural community. Uh-oh, I think we've got... So AHECs have been around forever. Rural Health Scholars is an AHEC program. So you may just hear that around. Just realize that you're not just in a class. You're in a program called Rural Health Scholars, but more importantly, you're a part of a national program by being in this. So what that means is that we are going to be tracking some data on you. We like to find out why you wanted to go into healthcare in the first place. We want to help you be successful. But guess what? When you leave the program, we want to know where you're going. So if you decide, hey, healthcare is not for me, I found out in one semester I wanted to go do accounting or engineering or education, that's awesome. But you do need to come into our office and do what's called an exit interview. and we track some data. We try to find out why you decided to go into healthcare in the first place and why you're leaving, so that programs like ours can provide better supports. So that's kind of the AHEC program, if you'll think about it that way. We have 3 AHEC centers in the state, one at Weaver State, one at Salt Lake Community College, but they do not have oral health scholars programs. Only here in our southern area do we do that. And we are nested as well with the University of Utah School of Medicine in their preventive and family medicine program. So my boss is a doctor up at the University of Utah in the med school. So we're very well connected with the University of Utah Med School. Does that mean it makes it any easier for any of you to get in? Not really, but at least we know what they're looking for. And I'll share with you a little bit about the history of how that evolved. So back in 2004, so I've been here at SUU doing the AHEC types of things since 1997. Some of you might not have even been born then, unfortunately. So we've been doing this for a long time, and back in 2004, we were realizing that SUU really only was getting 2 to 3 students into med school a year. It was really sad. We did not have a pre-med advising office on this campus. So I approached my boss, Wayne Samuelson at the University of Utah, who was the Dean of Admissions, and I said, you know, we'd love to get some of our rural kids into med school. Can you carve out some seats designated for those students? And he said, I can't do that, but I will help you create a program that will help you be more successful. And so I often call the program the Samuelson Curse, because when we started the program, we only had 30 students in the program. It was kind of amazing. Now we have over 500 students in the program, with 175 new each fall. So it's been a little overwhelming, our success. It's contributed to SUU's acceptance rates. It's been pretty amazing. We do charge fees for the program. As I mentioned, we are not funded by SUU. At our other programs, Dixie State, USU, Snow College, we're not funded by those schools. We're funded by a federal grant that's very small. And so we ask you to pay a little bit to be in this program. When you go to apply to medical school, let's just take medical school because I assume a lot of you are pre-meds, the cost of getting into medical school is about $5,000 to $8,000 just to get in. Taking your entrance exams, planning for your applications, paying for secondaries, and then your deposits, traveling to interviews. So you only want to do the application process once. So it's well worth it for you to pay a little bit to be successful. And that's what we hope to do in the Rural Health Scholars Program, is to get you into this 70 to 90% acceptance students. So it's geared for students going into all levels of health professions. How many of you, by show of hands, are pre-med? Wow. Okay. How many of you are pre-nursing? Excellent. Pre-PA? Pre-dental? What? Wait, do we have any pre-meds? Oh, there you are. Yay! I was going to say, Andrew's good peer mentor for you. More of you should think about dental. Pre-pharmacy. A few of you. Pharmacy is an amazing career. Optometry? Good. How about podiatry? Woo! Chase is many of you may think about podiatry. Chase is happy to chat with you about that. How about physical therapy? Occupational therapy? Yay. What did I miss? Vet. Oh, pre-vet. A few idiots, yay. What else?
Administration.
Oh, what? Healthcare administration. Yay. Good. So all of you can benefit from Rural Health Scholars. So if you're pre-vet, every time I say patient, you think of an animal, not a person, okay? Pre-vet school is actually harder to get into than medical school, by the way. So we work with students going into all disciplines. I want to show you this video clip. It's really okay if you laugh. In fact, I hope you laugh. and get the jokes in here. And we'll chat a little bit about it in just a second after it's over.
Miss Wagner, my name is Nathan. I'm pre-med. Can you tell me what I have to do to get into medical school?
Hi, Nathan. Nice to meet you. So you want to be a doctor?
Yes, I want to help people. I'm going to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. Can you tell me if I will be accepted to a prestigious medical school?
Well, Nathan, let's have a look at your transcript. I see that you have a 2.5 GPA. In order to be competitive for medical school, your GPA should be higher than this.
Yes, but I really want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. I think once I'm in medical school, then I will be able to focus more on my science courses. My teacher in organic chemistry was very hard.
So Nathan, tell me about your volunteer experience.
I have been so busy studying for my classes with very hard professors that I have not done any volunteering yet. I tried to shadow a neurosurgeon, but he did not reply to my text message.
Well, medical schools really like to see that you have explored what it means to be a physician.
Yes, I did shadow my uncle last summer. He is a pharmaceutical salesman.
Are you involved in any organizations on campus?
Yes, I'm in pre-med EMSA.
What do you do in EMSA?
I attended a meeting last fall. I have spent so much time studying for my courses with hard professors that I have not had time to go again. Can you tell me what I should do to get into Harvard?
I do not think you will get into Harvard.
Yes, but my great-grandfather is an alumni.
I do not think you will get into Harvard.
If I do research, will that make me look good?
Research is a great way to learn about a very important facet of medicine.
Can you sign me up for a research project, please?
No, you will have to ask the professor. I do not think that you should become a doctor.
What if I get a 38 on my MCAT? Will I get into medical school?
If you get a 38 on the MCAT, I will run naked through campus and then quit my job to move to Saipan.
Great. Can you tell me how to get excellent letters of recommendation?
You will need to get to know your professors in order for them to write you good letters of recommendation.
I have never talked to my professors. Do you think they will still write me good letters of recommendation?
I think you should wait to apply to medical school. I do not want you to be my doctor.
I cannot wait. My parents really want me to become a doctor soon.
I do not think you should become a doctor.
I'm getting a C in biochemistry. Do you think I should drop it? Will it make me look bad?
I do not think dropping it will make you look any worse than you already do.
But I can drop the course every semester.
Please, do not waste your parents' money on applying to medical school. I am going to go drink heavily now.
Thank you. Before I go, could you write me a letter of recommendation?
I would not write you a letter of recommendation to perform surgery on the mice that run through my kitchen every night. Are you sure you do not want to be a lawyer?
Okay, I sure hope I don't have to have that conversation with you guys. But what did you learn from this video? What are some key points you just learned? This is the audience participation point. Yes?
High GPA.
High GPA, you're going to be 3.5 or higher. Yes?
Do service.
Do service.
Get to know your professors.
Get to know your professors. What else?
Volunteer.
Volunteer. What else?
Having hard classes and get to know the students.
Having hard classes is not an excuse to not do extracurricular activities. What else?
Job shadow. Be engaged.
Be engaged. What else? I heard a voice.
Sorry, job shadow.
Job shadow. What else? You just learned a ton of really good stuff here, okay? And we'll cover a lot more elements of this as we go along in the program. So students say all the time, what's going to get me into grad school? What's going to make me look good? I know that so-and-so got into the University of Utah nursing program. I want to do everything that they did. There is no magic bullet. Our goal is to help you find activities that are very personalized to who you are going to be when you apply to your healthcare graduate program. So we want to help you find activities that are going to transform you and create characteristics that a healthcare provider really needs to have. So you can't just say, well, I'm going to do it just like my father did, or my brother, or my friend who got into med school, or dental school, or pharmacy school. So we want you to learn from your activities. So one of our key components is reflection. And reflection, you're going to learn about reflection. Reflection is not just I went and volunteered as a big brother, big sister, but I volunteered as a big brother, big sister, and I understand what kids in poverty go through. I will understand that a foster child is not connected to a family very well. So it's digging deeper inside yourself and thinking about what you got out of those experiences. You're going to hear the term box checker. So med schools, dental schools, pharmacy schools, nursing programs understand what a box checker is. That's someone who just does an activity to make it look good on their application. And so we don't want you to fall into that trap. We want you to be choosing your activities very carefully. Our tagline is your success is our success. We try not to give you any busy work. It may seem like busy work right now, but come and chat with us and find out why we're asking you to do these things. They should all help you in the application process. So you're also going to hear a term called distance travel. We want you to choose things that are going to stretch yourself, okay? We may ask you to work with a population that you're unfamiliar with. If you've never worked with developmentally disabled folks, if death and dying is a hard topic for you, you may want to be a hospice volunteer. We need you to push yourself into activities that you're learning and growing from. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk about characteristics of a good healthcare provider. We know that these are those characteristics. And when you go to apply to nursing school or physical therapy school, you can't just say, I'm a person of integrity, I'm compassionate. You can't just say those things. You have to prove them with your activities, okay? So we're going to help you put together a compilation of about 15 different distinct activities over the next 3 to 4 years. And that's really what it takes to get into most all of these programs that will help you build these characteristics. You may have some of these characteristics already, but we need you to do activities that will prove to your admissions committee that you are this type of person. So the way we do this, and I apologize if you can't see it, but you're going to get to know these areas pretty well. We focus with community service in the very beginning. All of you are signed up for a class called Science 2120. Our pre-med, pre-graduate students start on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. over in the PE building. Our pre-nursing students start on Thursday in the science building. In those classes, you are going to be assigned to do 25 hours of service that is approved service, okay? We have a service database that we'll share with you. We're even going to have a service fair where you can choose those opportunities. We want you to be doing the right kind of service. So you'll be doing a little bit of outside of class work. We'll have some guest speakers that come in and talk about things, but be prepared to do 25 hours of service this year. That's the starting point. As you move along in the program, you're going to be adding things like patient exposure, extracurricular activities, leadership, undergraduate research, job shadowing, and we certainly have a focus on your academics. I tell students your GPA is the most expensive thing you own. I don't even care if you own a house, because it's expensive to repair once it sinks into the toilet. You may have to do what's called a post-baccalaureate program, which is a master's degree after your undergrad experience if your GPA does not measure up. So please, please, please be very careful with your GPA. I see students who try to rush through their undergraduate experience, pounding out 18 credits, and if you do that but get poor grades, unfortunately there's not much we can do to help that other than talk about doing a master's program. So slow and steady wins the race, right? So I'd rather you take 5, 6 years in undergrad, your parents don't want to hear that, and get into medical school than to try to rush through in 2 or 3 and just have a bachelor's degree but no access to graduate programs. So we also have, has anybody heard of Rocky Vista College of Osteopathic Medicine? In Ivins, Utah. It's a brand new med school. It's an osteopathic medical school, and you'll learn what that is. We have an early acceptance program into that. We also have designed some early acceptance programs into Roseman's Dental School, Roseman's Pharmacy School, Roseman's Nursing School. For those of you who are pre-nursing, what's the average GPA for students at SUU getting into the nursing program? 3.8. It's crazy. Does that mean 3-4 GPA people are not going to make good nurses? No. They're going to make amazing nurses, but you may just have to go to a different school. And so we have an early acceptance program with Roseman's Nursing School for you. We also have an early acceptance program for those of you who are PT with Rocky Mountain School of Physical Therapy that's located in Provo. So we'll be discussing those in our Tuesday morning class. It's a great opportunity for some of you, especially with this program. You get to bypass that dreaded MCAT. Not bad. So as I mentioned, we are going to be sharing with you very soon service opportunities. We have a community engagement center that's located on our campus, just off our campus in a house across the street. They focus on a lot of service. In fact, they have service leaders that are in charge of projects. Those service leaders will be at our service fair on September 6th. As a part of the class, you have to come to our service fair, so I want you to block that time off now if you need to go to work, to plan around that with your work schedule. It's from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and it is in this room right here. We are bringing to you the people that want volunteers. The hospital will be here. We'll have clinics here. We'll have people so you can actually meet them face to face. You do not have to cold call them and look for volunteer positions. We also have an online database with organizations that are already pre-vetted that are good service opportunities for you. And you'll be able to find the link for that in your Canvas, and we'll talk about that in class as well. And then we have staff that are willing to help you find projects. So we have enhanced academic advisors. Hopefully all of you have met with your academic advisors. Our advisors in our office are to augment that. Oftentimes, you're going to be given conflicting advice. And that's because our SUU academic advisor's goal is to get you graduated as soon as possible, right? Our goal is to get you into the program that you have chosen. And sometimes the advice may not be exactly the same. And ultimately, you're going to have to make the choice for yourself what you're going to do. And talk to our staff about how to make those decisions. We also have patient exposure opportunities, test preparation opportunities, job shadowing. We do mock interviews as well. If you're heading out for a job now, or if you're heading out to grad school in a couple of years, we're happy to do mock interviews with you. We're happy to help you prepare resumes. We do some cultural immersion trips, and we're going to talk about that with our student panel. This year, we are going to the Dominican Republic, Panama, Salt Lake City, and the Four Corners. I have a poster in the back that has the days. It's also listed in your Canvas. It's also on our website. You can sign up for those trips today if you want to. They do fill up pretty quickly. I would imagine by first part of September, some of those trips will be filling up. It is first come, first serve. We have a lending library in our office. Come on in. If you don't have enough to read, we have some amazing books that you as pre-health students should be reading all the time. And we have, as I mentioned, peer mentors. They're going to come up and chat with you a little bit. One of the best things about our program, you've already paid a fee to be in the program. We offer free private tutoring. The difference between an A and a B is a tutor, okay? You need A's. So, on Canvas, you have access to a list of our private tutors. It's up to you to look at that list, figure out what class you need tutoring in, call up one of our tutors, arrange for them to tutor you. You can meet them on campus, you can meet them off campus. They'll walk you through the process so that they have their hours validated, but it's a great benefit. We hire the best of the brightest on this campus because they're in RHS. So if you do super stellar work here in your science classes, come and tell us, and guess what? We're going to hire you at $10 an hour to be one of our private tutors, okay? We do an application workshop when you get ready to apply. So as I mentioned, all of you are in a class called Science 2120 this semester. Next semester, you get to take one of our advanced seminars. That's called University 3000. It too is a 1-credit pass-fail class that you sign up for. And every semester we offer a huge variety of advanced seminars. This semester we offer 17 advanced seminars. So they're taught by local professionals. We hire physicians, we hire dentists, we hire pharmacists, we hire nurses to teach these seminars for you. Some of them are very basic. So test preparation. We have a verbal reasoning, reading comprehension seminar. If reading has been challenging for you, this is great to take early on. It's offered every semester. So it teaches you to read more quickly and to capture the main points because your entrance exam is going to have a lot of reading on it. This seminar actually helps with your classes right now. So if in your ACT your reading was not very strong, go ahead and take this next semester and get a good start. I know most of you are all type A people. I hope you are, because healthcare demands that you are very, very motivated. Sometimes the challenges of being super motivated are anxiety, right? So we teach a class called Mindful Learning. Mindful Learning teaches you how to relax, how to do a little bit of meditation, how to focus on the study materials in front of you at that time, and then how to be present in the rest of your life. So just life balance. And so that's an amazing advanced seminar as well. If any of you, how many of you are from rural communities? We need to change the name of this program. We have a seminar called Rural Health Issues. So we would love to have you come and learn about rural health care and the issues facing it. So you'll get to take these next semester, okay? And the results of our program have been amazing. We have been so excited about the success we've had. As I mentioned to you, when we first started this program back in 2004, we had maybe 2 or 3 students getting into medical school. Last year, 30 out of 33 students got into medical school. All 33 were at Rural Health Scholars, and we're pretty excited about that. In total, we had 92 students that matriculated into healthcare programs. So that's pretty phenomenal, and we're very proud of that. 20% of our students that went to medical school got into the University of Utah. About 60% of our students go to osteopathic medical schools, and you'll learn more about that in the Tuesday morning seminar for those of you who are pre-med. You will be given a binder in class on Tuesday or Thursday that will be your textbook for the class. It will have a lot of things in there that you will be expected to look through, but it also becomes a resource the whole time that you're in the program. I do want you to look at page 13 in your binder. It's an article that I wrote called Above and Beyond the Statistics. SUU does a fantastic job of pumping out stats, and you probably all heard what great acceptance rates we have. But we want you to understand why we have those acceptance rates, and we want you to understand where our students are getting into. And we'll talk more about that in our Tuesday morning class as well. I think we're going to invite our cultural immersion panelists to come on up. So peer mentors, those of you who are going to be on that panel, come on up. Okay, let's have you guys, maybe Catherine, go ahead and start and introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your discipline, your major, where you're from, and what trip you went on. 5 things. Is that on?
Okay. Hello, I am Catherine Wilcox. I'm a chemistry major, going into senior year. I'm from Wrightwood, California. It is a small town near Victorville, if you know where Victorville is. I went to the Dominican Republic twice. After my freshman year and after my sophomore year, both were May trips. Did I say 5 things?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Ryan Monthouse. I'm pre-med and a psychology major. And I have also been to the Dominican Republic twice, and I went on the Las Vegas trip, which is out in Salt Lake.
You're going to med school.
My name is Andrew King. I'm from Farmington, Utah, up in the Salt Lake Valley. I'm a biology major, chemistry minor, going to dental school, hopefully, if I get in. Let's see, I went on the Las Vegas trip with Ryan, that's not the Salt Lake trip.
My name is Cameron. I'm going into physical therapy. I'm an exercise science major. And I'm from a little town called Colville, Utah. And I went on the Four Corners trip twice as well. It's also a great trip.
Okay, so my name is Emily Payne. I am a biology major and I am pre-PA. I'm from Emory County, Castle Bell is my little town, and I went on the Dominican Republic.
Okay, these trips do cost a little bit of extra money. We try to keep the cost very reasonable. In fact, if you were to Google search pre-med global mission trip, you're going to find companies that will charge you a fortune. We try to keep our costs as low as possible. Our costs range anywhere from our spring break or fall break trips, which are just a couple $100, to our out-of-country trips, which are about $2,000 for a week, but that covers pretty much everything. So I want to ask you each to tell us one thing that was the most impactful thing about your trip for you.
Okay, let's see. I mean, I had a bunch of amazing experiences. I would say one of the most amazing parts was I got a shadow plastic surgeon. He did a reconstruction surgery on, I think, a 10-year-old's leg. He got burned. So that was really neat. I mean, there's not many chances you get to do that, not in our area. So, and one of the parts that was most interesting is the electricity went out. So halfway through the surgery, it was just black in the room. So, I mean, you don't see that a lot in America. So that was, it was hard to see the lack of medical care. So that was really good.
I was shadowing a physical therapist down in the Four Corners area. It was near the Navajo reservations. So it was cool to see just a level of poverty in the United States, because Navajo reservations were quite rural and remote. And it was also interesting to see that physical therapists didn't speak the language. Some of these people would come in and they only spoke Navajo. It was pretty amazing just to see the issues that are inside our own country still.
So again, I went to Las Vegas on a service trip. It was fall of 2016. I went during fall break. And one of the coolest things for me is, even though I'm going into dental school, I was able to shadow a doctor, a medical doctor. He was a Korean guy that he worked at a normal, I think he worked in a hospital, just normal doctor, but on the side, for like 4 hours a week, he went to this little rundown house that he funded himself, and he gave free health care to anyone that was able to come, and he gave them pharmaceuticals at price of cost, and pharmaceuticals are knocked up like 2,000%. So he was giving people prescriptions that would normally cost them like $200 or $300 for maybe $15. And it was just really interesting to work with this guy because he kept saying, you know, the biggest thing to remember when you're a healthcare professional is love. You know, love your patients, love your job, love doing what you do. And it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day mundane tasks that you have when you're in the healthcare profession. You're just busy all the time. So it's really neat to see that and kind of get out of the bubble here in Utah and see some poverty and someone really trying to do something special to help that.
So I've been to the Dominican Republic twice because I loved it so much. But I think the most impactful experience that I've had on one of these trips was when I went to Las Vegas. And as background, I'm here from Utah, Utah County. I forgot to say that earlier, from the Payson area. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so I've had very limited experience with the LGBTQ population. And while we were in Las Vegas, we had the opportunity to go volunteer at an LGBTQ center. And they also gave us like a little tour, and a transgender man came and talked to us about his and others' experiences in the healthcare system, where doctors at times will refuse to refer to them as the gender that they prefer. And he talked more about his experience and said something that has stuck with me ever since. He said that you don't have to understand it or even accept it, you can still respect us. I just thought that was exactly what I needed to hear, because I don't know that I really do understand it. And but I know now I can still respect other people's beliefs. And that's really what I got not only on that trip, but also going to the DR and volunteering here at the Pyatt Center and just trying to get all these different experiences of other cultures, which is really the point of these cultural immersion trips, is that people have all kinds of different beliefs, and as healthcare providers, we can respect all of those beliefs and provide the best care possible to anyone we come in contact with. And that's what I've gotten out of these trips.
I went on the Dominican Republic trip twice, just like Ryan, because I loved it so much. I think what's great about the DR is the culture there. Everyone is so friendly, so happy, so grateful just that you've taken your time to go see them. And it is really hard when we go to these like villages instead of our clinics, because each family can only have 2 people come. But sometimes they want everyone to be seen. Maybe like they have 3 or 4 kids who are sick. So the families have to choose, like parents sacrifice not to go so their kids can see the doctor just because of how little opportunities they have to see a doctor. And dentists, same thing. So just being in the DR is really eye-opening about the need for medical care in some of those rural locations, and it made me really enjoy global health and want to pursue that as a physician. So.
Awesome, thank you guys. Many of you know most all pre-health students try to have some sort of global experience or an underserved experience on their application. And sometimes that's difficult. We try to strategically plan these trips over winter break, over spring break. We even have a trip to the Dominican Republic in May after school is over. So one of the biggest challenges is cost. It's not cheap to go on these trips. It's an extra expense. So would you guys mind sharing a little bit? And Catherine, would you start with how you funded these trips? You went on 2 out-of-country trips. That's $4,000.
Yes, that is expensive. So my first trip, I got a substantial scholarship from a local church I attend. So you can tell them, like, I'm doing missionary work. I don't know, ask for sponsors in your community if you know anyone like that. So that helped a lot with my first trip. And then my second trip, my grandfather was kind enough to bless me again with like the scholarship. So I relied a lot on family support, and then also I did pay for at least half of the trips myself too. So just saving up the money, working over summer, working in the school year.
I don't know if I remember where all of it came from, because Both times I did a GoFundMe, which was an easy way for family and friends to be able to donate to my trip. And I did get a lot that way, but I definitely didn't get enough. And I think just like Catherine was saying, working, the first time I went, I had this internship that was paid that I was doing that helped pay for it. And then the second time, I took out some of a student loan to help cover it, so that's also another option.
So I went on the Las Vegas trip, and a few years ago, it was only, I want to say it was like $300, $400 or something. So there are options to, not go out of the country and still get a very meaningful experience. Not to downplay those experiences, obviously, but there are options to kind of keep the cost down for you. And what I did is, I've worked my whole time I've been in SUU. I waited tables at a restaurant. I worked at Central Wood Fried Pizzeria. You should go. It's delicious. But anyway, I mean, you can find a job, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to healthcare. I still put it on my application as a way that I've been able to learn how to work with tons of different people, because Cedar City is kind of a touristy town with all the national parks here. Probably 7 out of 10 people that I would wait on their table were not from Utah even. So you can find different ways to work and still help put it on your application and fund these sorts of trips.
I'll second what Andrew said. The in-country trips are pretty awesome still. And I mean, technically the Navajo reservations are a different country, right? So it's kind of international. But I likewise use jobs just in the summer and during the school year. I don't work too much though during school. You need to focus on maintaining your grades, of course. But there's also, like, RHS has some scholarships available to help with these trips as another option.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you have heard of the EDGE program, but take full advantage of that. It is worth it. A lot of people tell you, oh, it's a waste of time. No way. So I went to Africa, gone to Africa for my EDGE project. I worked in an orphanage for about 2 months, 2 weeks. And then I applied for the EDGE scholarship, and I got it, and I pretty much took that money and gave it to RHS to go on the Dominican Republic. So, yeah, take full advantage of the EDGE program. I know that they give money back, so you could do these cultural immersion trips for your EDGE project.
Point of reference. The EDGE program here is about, how old is the EDGE project? Amy, do you know? 10 years? It's about 10 years old, and you're going to learn all about EDGE. And the goal is to give you something to put on your application that's really going to set you apart. Guess where the EDGE program started? It actually started with what Rural Health Scholars was doing with our students. And our provost took notice of that and then integrated it into the entire campus. So EDGE is a great opportunity. You as pre-health students are going to be doing 10 to 15 different things that could all be EDGE projects. A trip is one of the easiest, but your leadership experiences, your patient exposure experiences, your research experiences, your service can all be EDGE projects. So this group of students has the easiest way to get through that EDGE project. And as Emily said, there's definitely some scholarship money available for projects, but you got to pre-plan that. So, well, thank you guys very much. I think we're going to invite some of our other peer mentors to come up and chat with you a little bit. Do you guys want to stick around though? And why don't those of you who are coming up bring a chair? Because you guys might have some answers to some of these as well, these questions. And we'll have our newer mentors introduce yourself. Our peer mentors, you have an assignment in your class to visit with a peer mentor. Okay? So check out that assignment. You actually come up to our office to reserve your time to spend with the peer mentors. They have some forms they're going to go through with you. You could start those appointments as early as Monday if you'd like. Our office is staffed by almost every single discipline that you would need. So you just need to pop into the office to make your appointment. There is a sheet in the office that you sign up for. And then you get to spend about a half an hour with one of our peer mentors. Our peer mentors are chosen. They are students that have already submitted their applications for grad school. We have chosen them because we have a high faith that they will get in. So that's us. I know. Yeah. So I'm going to ask each of them who has not had a chance to introduce themselves to you.
All right, so my name is Edgar Judd. I'm a biology major, planning on going to optometry school, and I'm from Colorado.
My name is Chase Levitt. I am a pre-podiatry student. I'm the guy that wooed. For those of you who are interested, please ask questions because it is a great field to study.
You get to do surgery, right?
You do. You do. Podiatrists are completely surgical. It pretty much means you can work on anything below the knee. Anyways, I'm an interdisciplinary studies major from Idaho, and yeah, we're good.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm nursing, so I'm actually in the nursing program at SUU, and I'm from Cotton Pines, Utah.
I'm Brian. I'm from Orem, Utah. I'm a biology major doing pre-occupational therapy. I actually had my first interview in September, so wish me luck. And thanks. Cool.
So what's the one thing you wish you knew when you first started RHS?
So the first thing I wish I would have known is that just because you have free private tutoring doesn't mean your grades get better without using it. My grades are fine. I don't want you to think anything of it because I am one of the tutors for several of the courses that we'll be taking, so if you guys have questions, you can look me up. But you have to schedule the appointments and do the work if you want tutoring to help you. So don't be afraid to take advantage of that resource. It is super, super simple. There's a big list on your Science 2120 page as well as on the RHS page that you click on it. It gives you a list of everybody, the courses that they teach, and their phone numbers. You can send any of us a text and we get back to you pretty quick. So I ended up using one my freshman year. Algebra and I don't get along. So I had to get a little help through algebra, but I'm happy to say that my GPA is just fine. And math classes do count for your science GPA. So it's important to keep your math grades up as well. So.
Who else has a great piece of advice?
So, like Reese talked about, you have to have lots of different experiences, but I wish that I'd known in the first semester that at least been doing it better, that you want to have long-term activities that you keep doing for several months, lots of hours, because that will look better on your application, because then you can write more about it and tell more of a story about what you gained from it, rather than having a couple hours volunteering in the library, a couple hours working at a shelter. Just kind of, it's good to explore and figure out what you like, but once you find that, those few things, stick with them and hit them hard, work hard on those things.
So something I think is good to know is that when you go to apply to your graduate programs and they're looking at your GPA, they calculate your repeated courses as its own course. So SUU, if you retake a course, they just take, I don't know, either your best grade or your most recent grade in calculating your GPA. But medical schools and other schools they'll look at each grade, and so it'll just be an average of the two. And so I wasn't planning on going to medical school my freshman year. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was majoring in music, and to get an A in those classes, I really just had to go. But I had to take history class, English 2010, and these other classes, and I spent the majority of my time watching Netflix in the library. And got a couple of Fs and a D and a C that year. And then went on a mission, came back, reformed myself, and I'm doing better. But I kind of shot myself in the foot that first year, and I was just thinking earlier, for all of you who are freshmen, how awesome it is that you have pretty much a blank slate right now. Your high school GPA doesn't matter anymore. Your ACT score doesn't matter anymore. It's just what you do from here on out. So I would strongly encourage you to keep in mind that repeating courses is it's an option, but it's still not the best way to go. And you just want to do the best you can right from the beginning. Take the time now to exercise that self-discipline and use the time you need to do well in your classes starting out, because it'll be so worth it in a few years.
You all have 4.0s, right?
I just have one quick thing. So I came to SUU as a transfer student from Snow College. Are there any others out there that are transfer students? So quite a few of you. I didn't decide on my major until after I came to SUU. So this is actually my 5th year of school. The first 2 years I just got my associates, kind of got my GE credits out of the way, which isn't necessarily bad, but the past 2 years and this coming year, I've kind of had to pack it in a little bit, and it is so easy to get overwhelmed. I remember sitting in this room, I was at like one of the tables over here, and I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to do it. So my advice to you guys would be to utilize the resources that RHS offers, and if nothing else, just come in, find one of the members of the staff, and just talk to them, get their advice of like, okay, what can I do today to kind of help myself figure things out? What can I do this week? What can I do this month? Set some short-term goals for yourself and then set some long-term goals. But again, just come in, find someone that has been in your place before. There are people like myself, Ryan and Kate were both transfers from Snow College. I'm sure they had similar experiences. So I think there's definitely people in the RHS office that can relate to where you're at and help you through whatever you need.
Yeah, so I just want to second that. Really get to know your mentors. We've been where you are, and we've been through it all. So we have struggled, and we know what it takes to succeed, hopefully. So come get to know us. We've done our research on the schools, and we've taken the classes. So we don't know everything, but hopefully we'll be able to help as much as we can and hopefully help you to not go through those same struggles and avoid those.
It's never too early to start studying for the MCAT. Like literally, you can start today. In your freshman classes, Gen Bio, Gen Chem, stop by the office, pick up an MCAT Kaplan book for that class if you don't want to buy the books yet. And just like go along with it in your class. And it might actually be a good resource to just read something explained a different way. And you can start to see this is how the MCAT will test this concept, right? Another thing you can start studying is psychology. It's very term heavy. Maybe learn 10 terms a week. Then you don't have to learn 300 terms the month before your MCAT, like I was trying to do. So yeah, and critical reading, if you struggle with that was my lowest section. Just every time you read something, try and read maybe the first time you read it, try and read quickly and try and get the main points out of your paragraph, right? And then read it again for real, like you would for a class, and see like, oh, I understood the tone, I understood the theme, the message. And that'll be just really good practice to prep yourself, because it is a hard test and it is hard to study for it, and pacing just really helps. So
I'd second that for all the other tests as well. Pretty much goes for any of the entrance exams. You might as well start early. Like I'd say for the GRE that you take for PA, PT, OT, a couple others. Start now, increasing your vocabulary and retaining some of those simple math concepts.
I just want to follow up on the tutoring. I'm very passionate about this. When I was in high school, I had a high GPA, so I was like tutoring, like I don't need tutoring, like I'm already smart. The thing is these classes are hard, and it's not that you're not smart, it's that a lot of this isn't a game to get into these schools, it's a game who can run the process, who can do the most. You guys have an advantage with tutoring. I know it seems like, well, I don't want to because I'm smart enough to do it on my own. It's an advantage, take it. You can get back all of your fees back in tutoring. You can, every semester. It's worth it. Another piece of advice I would give everyone is know yourself. Know who you are. Rita said earlier, you will get conflicting advice. you're going to get advice from 15,000 people. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone knows, oh, I know this girl got to nursing school. I know exactly how you can get in. You have to know yourself, and you have to be able to go through that criticism and those advice and figure out what works for you, because you'll figure it out. Because these programs don't want cookie cutter people. They want you at your best. So figure that out.
We're going to open it up for some questions, and Casey and Amy have some roving mics.
So if you have a question for our peer mentors about any of our programs or how they did something, please, this is a great chance for you to ask that question, because if you have that question, somebody else has probably got the same question. So who's got a question?
Okay, over here.
I don't remember your name, Black Chair. You said that there were some books that talk about pre-med, and like, where do we find those again? You said they're really...
So the RHS office on the 3rd floor of the science building has a lending library. There are tons of books for all programs. There's even some like textbooks in there. So be first. So you just go and check out the book. You can check it out for the whole semester. We sign it out to you, and then you bring it back at the end of the semester or whenever you're done with it. There are like 3 sets of Kaplan and Cat books or more, and other like Princeton review books. So yeah, take advantage of it.
Thank you.
How do you feel that your how do you feel you made your application unique so it can stand out?
I would say think about what you want to say on your application in 4 years. I know that's hard. Like, who do you want to be? And then try and show that, not tell that. So don't say like, I love service and have like 1 service experience, right? So, and then if you say like, I want to go, don't say I love research, I want to do research, and have no research, right? So just, you'll fall into things, and maybe like, don't be afraid to say no to an opportunity. Like, Rita talked to me, she's like, you should go on the Dominican Republic trip. And I was like, I'm a freshman, I don't know if I'm prepared, I don't know how to do anything. But I just pushed myself out of that comfort zone to go on a trip with people I didn't know. And it was a really good experience and helped me have something unique on my application.
Anybody else have a question about your application?
One thing you will learn pretty quickly in life is a lot of things, it's about marketing. It's about how you write things down to applications. And we've got application things that you will help you work that. I mean, don't lie, obviously, I'm not promoting lying, that's not good. But there's ways to say things to make it more what they want. I mean, it's just like every job application. So I would say find your passions, and yeah, it'll happen, it'll fall into place.
Also, another thing to consider, basically, it's going to come down to, like, again, we talked about it already, there is no magic bullet, you know? For instance, there have been 4 students that I've met that have all applied to podiatry school. We're all very, very different people, okay? Very, very different people. And the other thing is people like, for instance, I sent my personal statements to all the students that I know that got into podiatry school and had them do a quick review of it. And all of them had different things to say, you know? And most of them were about the tone or style of the writing. But the truth is, I'm me and I like the way I write. You know, so I tried to stick true to that, and I think that's true of your service as well. Find things that you enjoy, because really, they don't care so much about what you've done so much as what you're passionate about. Because when you come down to interview, it doesn't matter if you've done 4,000 hours of hospital volunteering. If you hated your time there, you're not going to have anything good to say if they ask you about it. You know, so do something that you enjoy, that you can speak fondly of, and that helps push you to where you want to be.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of seconding what Chase said. Is like find something that you love doing and try to do a lot of that, and in different fields, in different areas. I've always wanted to work with children, and so I shadowed people who work with children, and I did service with children. I love soccer, and so my leadership opportunity was through the soccer club here at SUU. And I spent a lot of time doing that, and that was, you know, that you're showing who you are, and so doing the things you love will do that. And you'll stand out because what you love is not likely what everyone else loves.
You have another question?
All right, so this is kind of for all of you guys. What do you think is going to be the what do you think is going to be the hardest class that an average RHS student will go through?
Biochemistry. Biochemistry.
How many of you think biochem? OChem? Oh, some of you won't have to do biochem. Physics, math.
Gen Bio is hard because they make it hard. And that's the first class as a freshman. So a lot of people go in like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and professors are like, so it is hard, but it's not impossible. You can do hard things, you got this.
Yeah, one of the classes you're going to hear about, like guaranteed, is organic chemistry because that's the wall. I mean, you heard biochemistry, that is the hardest, but OChem is probably one that every single one of you will have to take. Don't listen to the naysayers that say it's the hardest class ever, you're going to fail probably once, or the class in general, because that class is going to be a test of whether or not you know how to work hard. And honestly, I think most of you would agree that's going to show whether or not you have what it takes to survive in your graduate program. Because you need to know how to study, you need to know how to work hard, and that class will show you whether or not you can. But it is doable. You can get an A in that class, it just takes work.
Another question.
What different writing processes did you guys use on your applications to make sure that they represented you best? So, I mean, grammar, style, because like you said, the person who's applying to podiatry school, people would tell you about the style, and I don't know, how did you guys navigate that and make sure that you're still being true to yourself, but also presenting yourself in a good light?
A great resource for writing help is the Writing Center. It helps you. They don't teach you how to write, but they can help guide you through your own process. It's a very helpful resource. Right, as well as, at the very end, there's an application workshop right before you apply, where Rita and the other RHS staff teach you how to write for the medical school applications.
It's worth every penny of this program.
I think everyone would say here that is true.
Is we will sit down with you with our staff, we will help you edit your application when you get there. So,
How much is the Kaplan course to do it?
Kaplan course to actually do the application workshop is $795 for 3 hours of assistance.
And they have a full fee.
We do
Without
it
charge.
for free. For free. Okay, another question. Yep.
What was one of the best resources that you guys took advantage of as RHS students?
Application workshop.
The cool thing about RHS is you get exactly as much out of it as you want to. You know, for instance, an hour of private tutoring at the tutoring center costs you like $15, but you can get for free through RHS. So again, if you utilize your resources, it just depends. For instance, for me, it was probably, there is a student-run volunteer foot clinic that I got to run for 3 years, you know, which was a great experience for a guy that wants to be a foot doctor. Yeah, so I took advantage of that. That was my biggest thing. But again, there's so many resources. They have so many. Staff have great opportunities. They have great service. All kinds of good stuff that you can take advantage of. Just throw your hat in the ring. Again, I was a freshman when I started up a second branch of the clinic in another town. You know, so go for it. What's the worst that can happen? Somebody says no.
Another question over here.
So, like, what is your guys' advice, like, if we're a little iffy on, like, going, like, thinking about pre-med, or, like, just the healthcare route, what are your guys' what are your guys' advice for people that are kind of iffy about it, but still would like to look into it?
I would try to job shadow and volunteer with patient exposure hours specifically, just to see if you like working with the patients. And you know, if you don't like working with the patients, touching them, talking to them, maybe you don't want to be a doctor. If you shadow a doctor and you're like, wow, this was a really boring day, maybe you don't want to be a doctor. But for now, you can just stick with it, because if you change your mind and you're going pre-med and you change your mind, you're pretty well off for anywhere else you want to go, right? If you're doing everything right.
Any other questions? One in the back.
This is for everyone. What are your best time management tips?
Ooh,
delete your Netflix account. It's always helped me to schedule things so that I have a set time to study or whatever it is. So it's kind of like more like a job where you show up, you have to work those hours, you're there, you're logging those hours. And it's kind of the same with studying and doing things at school. I think that helps me. That's not true for everyone.
One thing that really worked for me, I bought just a little pocket planner off Amazon. It was like $10. And just write down everything that you need to get done and it worked really well for me. Just make a to-do list every night before you go to bed of like 8 to 10 things you want to get accomplished the next day. And if you do that, you'll see that, hey, I checked that box, hey, I checked that box. It's really easy to get things done. But make sure to prioritize. It kind of sucks. Maybe you're not going to be able to hang out with your friends. Don't try to balance everything. Prioritize. There's a difference.
For me, it was study at school and study with friends. My freshman year, I tried to do a lot of studying at home, which led to me doing something else at home and not studying at all. It worked out okay, but it could have gone much, much better. So I've learned I have to study at the university. Utilize the library, use study rooms. There are study rooms all over campus, and a lot of classrooms after hours can be used to study. And then study if you feel comfortable with it and you can, study in groups. It helps keep you on task and make it way more enjoyable so it doesn't feel like, you just want to die while you're studying all afternoon. Because sometimes you do have to study all afternoon, So study at school, and if you can, study with friends. It helps.
Yeah, just make school your full-time job. Make it an 8 to 5 job. You're here at the school. I do better at school too. But you can take an hour break for lunch or whatever. But be here, do your stuff. If you get done early, great. Try to get ahead with the extra time you have. If you do that, then you will have time for social life too, which you will need. You need to release as well. But if you're 8 to 5 every day, you have 5 on to live your life. So.
I want to echo that. You'll have the opportunity to hear from some medical students, some nursing students, some pharmacy students, and they do say treat it like a full-time job. Your schooling should be a full-time job every day. It's what your goal is. So, and we're going to move on to do I have one more question? One more question.
It's pretty similar to the last one. How do you just find time to relax so that you don't get stressed out?
So I was married halfway through my college time, so really look for people who know how to relax and then set time apart to do it. Don't just think, oh, I'm going to work as much as I can. Not doing a planner, because doing a planner is a really good idea, but set time apart to relax. Make it something that you need to do, because there is such a thing as burnout, and it really will happen. If you're just going from work to studying to work, you will burn out, and it's going to hit you hard. But really set that time apart to be with people you love and care about, or do something that you really enjoy, because if not, it's going to be really tough.
And I'd say set a schedule, especially if it's a class you're really struggling with. Cut yourself off after 2 hours, especially if you're not getting anywhere. If you're just studying and it still doesn't make sense, if you could study it all night but still be in the same place, what's the point, right? Cut yourself off, go to sleep, wake up early, or wake up the next day, go find a tutor. And just set bedtimes, I guess. I'm leaving the library at 10 tonight, no matter where I'm at, so I need to focus now.
Did you have one more question?
One of my best releases is I've made really good friends with a couple of my professors. And so when I'm just really stressed out, but I need to be on campus, I'll go and talk to them in their office. Bill Hayborn, he's awesome, so go give him trouble. And let him help you release too. Find a professor you really enjoy. They'll help you. They've been there too. They've gone through grad school. They've done everything. So.
And I guess I'll just do a plug for CAPS, the Counseling and Psychological Services. They are free and beneficial, I'd say. So they're across the street from SUU Shakespeare Festival. It's not SUU, it's just Shakespeare Festival. Yeah. but they can definitely teach you skills on how to relax or manage stress if you struggle with that.
Thank you guys. Yeah, you guys are all going to be pretty stressed at some point or another. Feel free to use our office as a launching point. Come in and chat with us. We will point you in some right directions and give some hints and tips. I want to thank all of our peer mentors for being here today. Let's give them a round of applause. So they're going to be hanging out with you a little bit, happy to answer other questions that you might have, but we're going to do a few icebreakers later on, and they're going to be helping to facilitate those. So thank you guys very much. We're going to finish with our PowerPoint presentation here and a couple of homework items for you to do. This is your homework, and I have to always tell you this before school starts, because some of the things that might happen to you this weekend could affect your whole career. So, focus on your academics. No W's. If you need to take a W, if you need to withdraw from a class, do it today or early next week so it won't show up on your transcript. Grad schools look for a pattern of W's. So if you have overcommitted yourself this semester and you are in 18 credits, and after week 1 you go, oh my gosh, how can I do this and all the extracurriculars? Drop some classes. Come in our office. We'll help you figure out which is the most pragmatic to drop. If you're pre-med, don't drop chemistry because you have 3 years of chemistry and you don't want to take that off sequence. But there might be some other ways to soften your load so you can fit everything in. So be cognizant of the add drop dates. Again, no retakes. If you can't do it well the first time, get out of that class. Wait till you're better able to do that. Again, utilize our tutoring. No disciplinary actions. When you apply to nursing school, medical school, dental school, they are going to do a couple things in terms of background checks. They're going to do a background check on your criminal background history. So, no underage drinking tickets this weekend, okay? You do not go to parties where there is alcohol and get those disciplinary actions that are going to prevent you from getting into grad school, okay? Also, don't do anything on campus, because guess what? When you apply to grad school, those grad schools come back to the university, to the dean of students, and they ask for your disciplinary action record on campus. So even though it wasn't in your criminal background check, it might be in the universities. So please, 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 mind your P's and Q's while you're on campus, and that starts today. Clean up your Facebook, your email, your voicemail. How many of you do not have voicemail on your phones? That's good. That's called professionalism. Get a voicemail. Get a voicemail. If I were to call you to offer you a research opportunity, I want to leave a voicemail for you. Okay? Also, I don't want to see Fuzzy Wuzzy Bunny 66 as your email address. You need to have a professional email address. You are heading into a profession that demands that. If you change your email address, though, let us know, because we're going to be emailing you a lot. Read your emails. We send out a weekly email to you that has a lot of really good stuff in it, okay? And those who read it get to take advantage of those opportunities. So read your email. If your Facebook has pictures on it that are not appropriate, you better clean it up. If you don't have a Facebook, unfortunately, you may need to create one that really represents you professionally. If you go for an interview for a job, if you go for an interview to grad school, oftentimes they're going to check out your social media. Sometimes if you don't have any presence, that's a red flag that you don't know how to manage your time. So use social media as a tool. Don't let social media use you, okay? You can create an alternative profile that is not your name so people can't find you, things like that. But that's just how information is transferred. Check out our social media, check your email regularly, use our service database. You can explore your Canvas shell right now. It is uploaded and published. There is an article of the week that you have to read and reflect on by next Saturday. Every week you will have an article of the week that you read and reflect on by Saturday at midnight, not 12:01. It is designed to lock you out if your assignment is not on time. Yes?
Campus doesn't open for students until Monday.
Okay, Monday. Use it Monday then. Check it out Monday. Stop by our office. Come find out where we are. We're on the 3rd floor. Guess what? We always have candy that you can have, and sometimes we even have really good chocolate. So pop in the office and introduce yourselves to us. Meet the peer mentors. Check out the lending library. That is your home away from home. If you have any sort of problem on this campus, you feel free to come into our office and our staff will help you through that. Just a reminder, class starts Tuesday at 7 a.m. For pre-health students, Thursday at 8 a.m. You're going to get your binders in class. We would typically give them out to you, but many of you freshmen are heading off to an activity and we want you to have to figure out where to put those. So you will get those at your first class. Bring your T-card with you to class. That is how we check you in for attendance. And it makes it a lot easier if you actually have the card. You can punch in your number, your T number, but it makes it a lot easier if you can swipe it in. At our office, let's see. What questions do you have in general about the program? Anybody have any questions? Yes, in the back. Do we have a microphone?
I was just wondering if you recommend the EDGE program.
Recommend the EDGE program?
Yeah.
You have to do the EDGE program.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's mandatory for every single student on this campus. Yep.
Actually, they just really took off the requirement for EDGE programs for the incoming freshmen.
What? I had to do an EDGE project.
Yeah, right?
You guys are going to be doing a bajillion EDGE projects. Do it. It's something to set your application apart. Yep, question up here.
So personally, I have Facebook, but I don't actively use it. I have another social media platform such as Instagram. Is that an okay substitute to have? Or would you recommend me getting a Facebook and being more active?
Yep, it is. In the Tuesday morning class and Thursday morning class, I'll actually show you some of the Facebooks where med schools and stuff transmit information. Go to the University of Utah admissions office for the med school. You'll find information on the Facebook you would never find it anywhere else. You want to be in the know? Use it as a tool. Other questions in general? We are going to have our pyramid. Oh, right up front. Say it loud.
So I noticed for the class next semester, it's like Spanish and Latin. So like how great is the ability to be able to learn medicine in a different language?
Yep, so if you have the ability to, how many of you, anybody fluent in Spanish? You got to use your Spanish. And if you have the opportunity, learn Spanish. We will give you some medical Spanish opportunities in our program. So take advantage of those. Going on our cultural immersion trip out of the country is a great way to get you excited about learning medical Spanish. But as a future healthcare provider, knowing medical Spanish is very, very good. Yes. So our peer mentors and our staff are going to give you some instruction about a quick game that we're going to play, and then we're going to get you out of here on time. But come and ask us questions. Come introduce yourselves. How many of you have had friends or family members that have been in Rural Health Scholars? Anybody? Oh, seriously? Any parents that have been in Rural Health Scholars? Because that's when I retire. I'm done. When somebody comes and says, my dad and mom was in Rural Health Scholars, I'm out of here. Please come tell me who you know that was in our program, because I am the founder and director of the program, and guess what? I remember a lot of the people that have been in this program, especially if they're successful. How many of you ever came to a summer camp or a health career exploration day? Of you, good. We do some things with high school students that are exciting. How many of you are from Utah? Wow. Nevada? California? Idaho. Colorado. Anybody from out of the country? Good, good, good. Always good to see where you come from. We want to get to know you, and that's how we can help you the best. And so please take advantage of our office, our peer mentors, and we are so excited that you're here. We're going to have a great semester. So Casey's going to share with us how we're going to